Good afternoon, and welcome to the Douglas County Chamber's first ever virtual GreyStone Power Luncheon, sponsored by Douglas County Economic Development Authority. I'm Craig Owens. I'm the president at Wellstar Douglas Hospital and your 2020 Chamber Board Chair. On a personal note, I want to thank everyone that's attending and everyone throughout our community for the support of your local hospital, Wellstar Douglas Hospital, through the COVID-19 pandemic. Thank you so much for being there for our team members who are there for you during this tough time. First order of business, I just want to mention we are very proud of our 2020 Cornerstone members. I'm sure many of you noted their logos on the countdown clock prior to the luncheon. But I do want to say thank you and recognize this group. At this time, I'd like to introduce Chris Pumphrey, Executive Director of the Douglas County Economic Development Authority, for sponsor remarks. Chris?
Thank you, Craig. It's such an honor to be here and once again sponsor the June luncheon for the Douglas County Chamber and be a pioneer in the first virtual luncheon for the Chamber. It's an honor for our organization to represent Douglasville and Douglas County in economic development. Our team has remained actively engaged with the real estate community, with our state partners as we all adjust to this challenging climate. Our hearts go out to all of those that have been affected, businesses, people, individuals, all across this community, all across this country, whether it's for health reasons and especially what's happening with much of the racial injustice that has been happening across the country as well. We want you to know that we are, as I mentioned, we're remaining active in all that we do, engaging with our large and small businesses across the community, ensuring that all of our real estate opportunities are available for companies as they're considering Douglasville and Douglas County. Our pipeline is still strong, but we're looking forward to some of that pipeline to turn into wins for the community. But partnership is what we do, and so we're always great to partner with you all, to partner with the Chamber, and looking forward to hearing all of the things that our mayor and have to share with us today. So thank you for today's luncheon and looking forward to a great rest of the time.
Thank you, Chris. This month, we are celebrating our community as we showcase businesses that have demonstrated resilience during the recent months through collaborations, partnerships, and rallying together as one. I'd like to introduce two of our community leaders who work tirelessly to make sure Douglasville and Douglas County continue to thrive now more than ever. First, I'm pleased to welcome Chairman Dr. Romona Jackson-Jones. Dr. Jones, your mic may be muted.
Sorry about that. I had a whole conversation by myself. I apologize. I would like to thank you, Craig Owens, for leading and as the chairman of the Chamber, and also GreyStone Power for hosting this luncheon. And on behalf of the Douglas County Board of Commissioners, I just hope everyone is doing well amid this coronavirus pandemic, and also as we face another pandemic around our protest, and also allowing our citizens to express their First Amendment right in correlation with police brutality in our nation. Well, similar to all counties in the nation, Douglas County is experiencing the same effect related to COVID-19. However, we are doing better than expected. Our financial position, certainly pre-COVID-19, was very strong, and it continues to do better than it's doing better than what we expected. We're expecting to lose, at least in terms of revenue. We were expecting to fall about 20% short on our revenues, but we certainly had a meeting yesterday, and some good news came before me. We are just really at 10% below our target in terms of our revenue, which allows us to have an offset by some of the creative and innovative things we've done with regard to expense reductions. We've certainly put a clamp on our budget improvement requests for 2020, and also our training and other operating expenses that could certainly have an impact. So today we are doing better than expected. Our cash flows are very well and very strong. And we just had to really, at this point, tap into our tax anticipated note, which is a TAN. So far that is going well. But what I want to do, I want to pivot back a little bit to the conditions of Douglas County in terms of COVID-19. Certainly want to not put a deaf ear on that. It is still ever present in our community. So I'm encouraging our citizens to please wear masks when they're out and about, and certainly stay focused on that hand washing component, and insert the birthday song so you can make sure that you take advantage of the 20-second hand washing. That's important. And also want to make sure the social distancing, I know the governor has relaxed some of his orders. However, he still has a very strong phased approach. So I want us to be aware and cognizant of the social distancing component of that component. As of yesterday at 3 p.m., we had 644 citizens in Douglas County who have tested positive for COVID-19. And unfortunately, we've had 32 citizens who have died as a result of COVID-19. And my heart goes out to those citizens and also their bereaved families. Just wanted also just chat, and certainly I'm just going to just provide an update from a budgetary standpoint. Douglas County has no debt, and our financial position is extremely strong pre-COVID-19. Certainly we are making adjustments because of the COVID event. Our economy overall was strong prior to this, but after speaking to our workforce development director, and also Chris Pumphrey, of course, who I give honor to, it seems like that we really haven't missed a beat. But as a 50-year business owner, my mother's a 50-year business owner, and as a daughter of a 50-year business owner, certainly I want to express deep appreciation to our small businesses as they are beginning to come back up in a very phased manner. And certainly as a 40-year healthcare professional, I'm in between the two. Certainly wanted to leverage our ability, number one, to sustain health, but also maintain the wealth of our community. And I am so proud in which we are moving. I certainly was happy that the Board of Commissioners were able to provide some support in terms of information that was needed for our small businesses so they could take advantage of what's needed to stay afloat with regard to the CARES Act and also to grants and that were available or still available to them at this point. Certainly that PPP component is critical as well. Certainly want to talk about some things that the Board of Commissioners had to do. We had to step in during this crisis situation and address several areas that were very important and to help sustain longevity in the lives of our citizens. We allocated about $1 million for our citizens here in several buckets, about $410,000 for our mental health component, because we realize mental health is part of this crisis. It will have, I call it a fallout or a backlash once this everything settles, because this has been a stressful moment for all of us. We fueled about $410,000 in that area. We've addressed the needs of our veterans. That's very important to us, and also our vulnerable populations, such as our seniors. We view some money there, and also our food banks. So we about $15,000 to our food banks, and also provided a luncheon for Wellstar Hospital. We sponsored about $3,000 for a luncheon for our first line and first responders. And I appreciate so deeply what our nurses, doctors, and epidemiologists and public health officials have done to help us through this crisis. The Board of Commissioners also took a deep dive and wanted to make sure that we paid close attention to hazardous pay. That's for our first responders in the county. And we spent about $500,000 doing that. But otherwise, our budget is right at the 10% mark. We're within 10% of our budget right now. Certainly, if we decide to go back to our old normal, that would chew down my operating expenses. And certainly, I made it very clear to our staffs, to the staff, the elected officials, and to the constitutional officers. A new normal is here, and they are working with me to make sure that we just keep a tight lid on our expenses at this time. Also, wanted to just chat about, and I know I have 10 minutes to deliberate today. Contrary to our narrative, so I just wanted to make sure that the citizens knew that we are pretty strong. We have some things in the pipeline out there, which with regard to SPLOST. SPLOST is our special purpose local option sales tax initiative. We have about 65 projects that are active right now. That's a lot going on in Douglas County. We have a senior center that's under construction in Lithia Springs. We have a multi-purpose center that is now at Boundary Waters. We have new tennis courts under construction at Deer Lick Park. And then also we have 2 parks that were 60 years old, which are located at Fair Play and Bill Ark that are under construction. We have new concession stands, bathrooms, and press box that are under construction. Those are some of the major ones. And our big win this year is our E911 radio system that where we have the ability to not only communicate internally for our first responders, but externally as well. So that's a huge, great win. I would like to commend both the city and also our city of Douglasville and also Cobb, who are working with us with this E911 radio system. Other things that are happening right now, or as it pertains to the reopening of Douglas County, we are going again in alignment, in lockstep with the governor's orders. We know how important it is to align with those orders, and particularly me as a healthcare professional. And so I'm taking very measured steps. We have our trails are now open in our parks, but the actual parks themselves are still closed. The playground equipment is not available in the bathrooms at this particular time. We're still working, but we do have some good news on the horizon. We have our library. We're looking at reopening, but it's still to be phased, and that'll be July 6th. And that information will be coming out on the press release today or tomorrow about our libraries, and it will be still a phased approach because that social distancing component is very important. We have the aquatic center that we're planning to reopen on June 26th, but of course it's still with a phased approach, so it will not be business as usual. So I wanted to make that very clear to our citizens. And then also we have our transportation center that will be opening next week. Our tax commissioner's office opened this past Monday. In speaking with him, he said that property taxes and tags are coming in stronger than ever. He's had other communities reach out to see how Douglas County is just thriving despite our circumstances, and I call it a blessing. We have another area that the courthouse has always remained open, and we've just had light cases there. The Judge Emerson, who's our chief judge, certainly we kept all of our courts, state courts, the Superior Court. We also kept our, with state court, I'm trying to think about magistrate court. All those courts remained open. We had 5, and those courts at this time, certainly they're working, I call it light loads, but we should see something pick up soon where our jurors will be returning. But however, I want to make a special note. In order to come into our courthouse, you will have a mask is required, a temperature check is required, and also hand sanitizer stations are located throughout. And for all the buildings, the county buildings, we will be doing the same thing once we go live. But right now, just mentioned the 3 that are on the radar to be opening real soon. And with that being said, if there are any questions for me, that is what's going on at the county. Again, I want to make it very clear we're doing better than expected. I was shocked and so surprised that we're just below 10% below on our loss, which is our local option sales tax. That's an assumption that I put in the budget, hoping that we would bring in a little more than we have. But of course, because of COVID-19, we're falling a little short, but we could have fallen even shorter. We have a couple of assumptions that I could discuss briefly, and then I'll pivot and yield to the mayor of Douglasville. We have 3 assumptions in our budget, and I want the citizens to certainly understand there are 3. There's a TABT, tax ad valorem. Certainly that allows me to go in and just kind of say, okay, we may do this, and it's projection, but budgeting is nothing but projecting. And next, we had the TABT, we have online sales. Of course, everyone has pivoted to online, so that we may see a slight increase in online sales. So I'm really excited about that, but it's still too early to tell. And then not last but not least is that local option sales tax component, which I see that there was a shift in our behavior. Instead of shopping for clothes, we start shopping for food. So we've seen a trend go toward the food industry. And so really, I believe that has allowed us to really kind of balance where we were in terms of our potential loss. Douglas County is right now, the CARES Act. We are hoping, we have not received anything from the federal government because of us being below a 500,000 population threshold, but we are anticipating and hopeful that CARES Act 4 will yield some dollars for our county, and so it could offset, number one, some of our revenue loss, and also to help pay for some of our COVID circumstances. But with that being said, overall, Douglas County is doing well, and I yield back to you, Chairman Owens.
Thank you, Madam Chairman, and thank you for your leadership during this challenging time. Next, we'll hear from our City of Douglasville Mayor, Rochelle Robinson.
Good afternoon, and thank you, Chairman Owens. It's such a blessing to be here. We really appreciate your leadership through Wellstar Douglas and on the Chamber of Commerce. You've been such a blessing, and your steady attitude and persona has really helped to guide us and help us to feel comfortable during these uncertain times. So thank you so much. Thank you to Sarah Ray and the Douglas County Chamber for this opportunity to just give you a brief update of what's going on in the city of Douglasville. And the Douglasville Council, City Council, and I have we've never stopped because City Hall hasn't closed. Even throughout the pandemic of COVID-19 and everything that's going on, we have continued to work hard for you. Of course, you know, we have to do those services, pick up your trash and clean the streets and have police and fire and all of that. So we've been very busy. I did want to say to the business community, as Madam Chair has shared about her family, that I come from a small business family, and really 3 generations, my grandfather, my dad, and my brothers. So I understand. And during that time where we had to have a state of emergency and ask some of the businesses, restaurants, to close their dining in and do takeout only, or some businesses had to close totally because of the health crisis, it was not taken lightly. It was very difficult to make those decisions. But of course, we have to look out for the health and the welfare of the community. So not just the welfare and finances, but our health as well. So I filled in many calls and text messages and emails, and tried to get back with you, the ones who called me personally, and to the city. But I did not take that lightly. Just know that I was in constant conversations with the Georgia mayors, with the Georgia Municipal Association, the Metro mayors, Governor Kemp. We had U.S. mayors conference calls with Vice President Pence and President Trump and Dr. Toomey, and it was things going on constantly, every 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 days. Things were changing, of course, because you saw that on TV. But I didn't just make decisions just throwing up a coin in the air. So I do want you to know that everything was heartfelt, and I understand how difficult it's been. But I commend you on most of you coming back in this phased approach. 2020 has been a year, it's indescribable. And it goes on the gamut of emotions for all of us. But we are going to get through and be better on the other side. Of course, Madam Chair has given you the statistics for the COVID-19 and how that's affected our community. And Mr. Owens can change hats and tell you all the other things that health-wise, but out of those 600 some cases, we've lost, of course, 38 people, and we continue to pray for their families in this pandemic. And it's, 2%, I think, is what is being slated for those who succumb, but 1%, one person is too many. So we'll continue to pray for those families and hope that our medical community can come up with a vaccine and have all of us safe in these coming months. But I extended a congratulations to the graduates. Many of you that own businesses have young people graduating from high school and college. And so it's been a very difficult time for them. I have 3 at home now with me. The taking college classes online, finishing up, and one finishing up high school. This is her senior year. That was difficult for our families to be flexible. So I'm in the trenches with you. We had to change our worship style online, um, and just try to connect at home, playing games and cooking and watching movies and doing whatever. But, my children haven't seen their grandmother in many months. And that is very strange because she loves her grandkids. My kids are 17, 19, and 21, and she treats them like they're 7 months old. They love their grandmother, and we love her back. And so these are things that have been difficult for us to do. And of course, she's 84, so we don't want her to come around us and one of us be sick and make her sick because she's in that vulnerable community age wise. And so we just, it's been a tough time, but you all have done an amazing job of coming together and adhering to the parameters and all the restrictions that we put on you during this time. And so we are coming back as a community, and we're very proud about that. So we'll just talk a little bit about what's been going on with the protest in the country, and how it relates to the city. And it does impact businesses as well. We've had 6 rallies in the city of Douglasville. 6 in Douglasville. We just had one last night. It was a peaceful rally with the police department, the sheriff's department. We had police chiefs from around the area in Paulding, Carroll, Union City, state troopers, everyone, sheriff's department, Sheriff Pounds. And it was, of course, spearheaded by my awesome chief of police, Chief Gary Sparks. And so it was very inspirational. Fox 5 and WSB was here to film it in the city. It was at the municipal courthouse. We had our judges that were there, representatives from the county. Thank you, Madam Chair, for sending Mr. Rick Martin from your communications department and Commissioner Henry Mitchell. We know that you had a board meeting that you had to chair. So, but we appreciate the support of everyone in the community, and it was very well attended. And all the rallies, protests, demonstrations, prayer vigils have been peaceful in the city. And I really, really commend the community for that. Of course, we can exercise our First Amendment rights, and that's to religion, freedom of speech, press, to assemble, and to protest. And so as long as that's done peacefully, to bring out the egregious behavior of some officers and police brutality and inequality in the country, we can stand up for that. Our country is built on protest. The Boston Tea Party. We've always had someone, if there's something that is not right, that we will protest it. So we appreciate the support of the community and the police department, the fire department. Thank you, Chief Spencer. And the ambulatory services have been and the sheriff's department, very instrumental in helping us to help the citizens to stay safe as they've had those protests. 2 have been down Fairburn Road. 1 was at Arbor Place Mall. We had a prayer vigil in the Hunter Park. And I can't even recall, but we still have 2 or 3 more that are on the books. And so we appreciate the support of the community in those prayer vigils and protests and rallies and marches, and the faith-based community as well. But let's get down to talking about businesses. We are continuing to support businesses. We try to put the information out there, funnel you to the chamber if you needed some support with small businesses. We do have the CARE Act that we're going to be awarded from Governor Kemp. And when that is given to us, we will support what's going on with the Chamber and Development Authority, as well as trying to help some of our businesses in the city. And we'll talk more about that as those resources become available. I appreciate the no dining in. It was very tough. It was tough for me too. But we supported the carry out for a lot of the restaurants. And so thank you for doing that. And thank you for everything. Again, I just can't thank you enough because I know it was very difficult. I'll talk about some things that we're doing in the city of Douglasville. We did have to, like many cities across the state of Georgia and across the country, of course, we've lost revenue because we have not been able to recoup some of those annual resources that we would receive every year from parks, for example. We have a robust youth park system, and that baseball, basketball, football, we weren't able to receive any of those resources. And so that on top of just the conference center rentals since February. So those things really put a damper into our resources. And we did have to borrow some monies to balance our budget. Our budget for the city is done in June and it's not the end of the year budget. So we, of course, had to borrow monies from our fund balance, which we were blessed enough to have. We had a healthy, very healthy fund balance. And so we borrowed $3.1 million to balance the budget for the city of Douglasville. And we're still within the parameters and beyond what is recommended for us to have a savings of 3 months or more for cities. And we still have that in our fund balance. So we're doing very well in that respect. It's 3 or 6 months. I can't recall. We have whatever it is, we have it. We had to furlough a few people in the park system, of course, because I just mentioned that we don't have those Jesse Davis Park, Alice Hawthorne, Hunter Park, all of those resources that we would normally have. We don't have any work for them to do because the parks were closed. And so those are some of the things that's been happening in the city of Douglasville. Our SPLOST is continuing to go forward with resurfacing of streets. Our construction projects continue. The old jail demolition is going forward. People continue to ask about the town green, and it will come to fruition. And the amphitheater is, all those things will happen. We may have to be more creative in how we make that happen, but it is going to happen. The Old Mill cleanup is coming along. The Old Mill playground is nearly completed, about 98%. I-20 Fairburn Road beautification with the gate signage is coming along. Our park renovations continue to go forward. West Pines is doing so very well. Oh my gosh. We've had several people come to West Pines to golf. And so that's been exciting for us. And a great announcement that we have is the PGA of the state of Georgia is coming to Douglasville, to West Pines, to host their annual golf tournament, like the Masters for PGA for the state. And so they've only chosen 3 public golf courses on their tour, and West Pines is one of them. And we will host the PGA July 6th and 7th in Douglasville at West Pines. So those are some of the things going on. The city council and I have resumed our in-person meetings. We started that on May the 28th. So we've had about 4 meetings in person, and we're doing that as we social distance. At the Diaz, we only have 4 council members and myself, and the other 3 council members are spread. I'm counting while I'm looking, thinking in my mind. And we have staff, the essential staff that are there, but it's no less than 20 people in the room and the auditorium at a time. And when we have citizens, they're socially distanced. We did have a huge citizen participation on a zoning matter this past week. And so we've had citizens come in, but everyone, their temperature's taken when they come in the door. We have masks on when we come in. We have stations with sanitizer, soap, and all of that. So we're trying to adhere to the requirements from the CDC and still be safe, as we know the pandemic, the COVID-19 has not gone anywhere. I know as we lift things, we think it's gone. We want it to be gone. We hope that it will be gone. But I tell my children to still be very careful because it still is here. We have to be vigilant about staying safe and keeping our families safe. All our city events are canceled until we can bring things back closer into having a cure or knowing how to manage things better. We did unfortunately have to cancel the 4th of July parade. And that's very hurtful. And it's such a celebratory, iconic thing, a staple in our community. And I was really sad about having to do that. But we really, again, have to protect the health of our citizens, health, safety, and welfare. And so we've pushed it out to Labor Day. So hopefully by Labor Day, we'll have with the Shriners worked out some more things. And the governor really hasn't lifted festivals. And so we anticipate that he will do that very soon. But at the time that we needed to talk with the fireworks company, we did not have those that answer from the governor's office. So we decided to cancel the 4th of July parade and have our fireworks on Labor Day. And hopefully we'll have some kind of semblance of a parade. Our parks are open for walking and other things, but not to get on the playground equipment. We haven't released that yet. We did have Hunter Park that was a location for COVID-19 testing, and that went very well. And they've decided last week to resume the testing since testing has gone down. The demand for testing has gone down in the county. They've moved their testing site to the public health where they're located there on Selman Drive. So I'm trying to think if there's some other things you might want to hear. New basketball courts were done at Jesse Davis Park. The Hawthorne Center renovations are completed with new flooring, restrooms, and paint. Mill Village Park is almost, like I said, 98% done. If you have not driven on Highway 92, you are in for a treat. Oh my goodness, it is just coming along so well. GDOT is doing an exceptional, phenomenal job. That whole area is becoming really, really busy, and we're excited for the possibilities. We've seen a lot of new residential growth around that area. There's a subdivision and it is totally full and occupied. And there are actually signs out on plots that say the plots have already been sold. There's new residential spurring up all around the area, Gateway Village. And it's just really, really exciting. So if you have an opportunity to go and drive Highway 92, that would be great for you to see something different as you get out with your families. I would say we have a phased approach in coming back to the city and reopening. And of course, that will align with the governor's approach as well. May 1st, City Hall, finance lobbies, court pay limited access to Welcome Center. All of those things happen in addition to the courts. The courts did open municipal court and everything is socially distanced. June 1st, the park facilities, Ike, Owens, Alice, Hawthorne, and the Welcome Center open, but again, not to get on the playground equipment. And July 1st, we'll have public gathering spaces, which will be the Douglasville Conference Center. And we'll see about those rentals. Floor markers are everywhere, signage is everywhere, your mask will be required. And I think that's about it. We're doing well. And we just anticipate that we'll continue to move forward. The mall is open. I know that was going to be a question. I'm trying to look at get questions that people may have that I've been asked, and I tried to jot some of those down. The mall is open. Arbor Place Mall is open, but I don't have any control. I wish I did, over J.C. Penney's and national chains that have decided to close because they're of bankruptcy. With my 3 teenagers and now my 21-year-old being home, I tell you, there's something delivered here almost every day. So we know that big box stores and chains are closing all over the country because of Amazon and online shopping. And I will tell you a secret. I've been Wayfair knows my name. They're sending me discounts and everything. So I've been doing a little shopping as well. But yeah, so I wish I could stop JCPenney and other mall stores that are there, but we don't have any control over that. But the mall is open and they're doing well. My daughters begged me. I was putting them off for 2 weeks every day, saying we're going to go to the mall. We're going to go to the mall to Ulta, and every day I had an excuse. So I finally had to be a woman of my word. I was nervous about going to the mall. So I did go with them last Friday. I took both of my daughters to get some makeup and some jeans, and we had our mask on, and we had gloves, and we had our sanitizer hooked to the side of our purses. And it was pretty robust in there. People were walking around. So it was a lot of people in the mall. So I'm sure they're doing well. I'll have to call and see what their statistics are. But as far as the stores closing, I'm sorry to hear that. And hopefully we'll continue to move forward and be competitive in that respect. And lastly, recycling. We had to stop recycling in the city because of COVID-19, because you actually touch that trash. And so, although they're boxes and all the recycling items, the service was suspended because of COVID-19, and just having staff handle that recycling. We're trying to come up with a way of handling the cost to the city. It's nearly doubled than regular waste, and so of course with the regular trash and receptacles, we have those machines that actually pick the receptacles up, or the refuge workers pick up the receptacles, but they're not handling the trash per se like you would do recyclable items. So we are working on recycling and bringing it back. We just have to figure out a way to do that would be cost effective. So those are some of the two hot topics that I've been hearing a lot about, or three: the parade, recycling, and the mall. So that's it. I appreciate your time, and we're excited to get back to business and to have some type of normalcy. Congratulations again to those graduates and on all the things that we're doing in the city and the county. And I thank the school board for being so gracious and feeding our young people over this time. And we're just excited to get back to some kind of way when we'll be able to see each other in person very soon. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. God bless.
Thank you for the thorough update, Mayor Robinson, and thank you for your tremendous leadership and commitment to our community. While the COVID-19 pandemic has tremendously impacted the world's economy, communities and businesses have rallied together in support of each other. Businesses and organizations have created partnership, established innovative ways to do business, and supported each other through donations and special offers to help their community rise above during this challenging time. We are pleased to showcase these organizations in a special tribute. I hadn't seen that list before now put together in quite that way. What a wonderful tribute to our community and our residents who have helped each other out during this time. On behalf of the Chamber Board of Directors, we are proud of our members and our community for coming together during this trying time. I would now like to invite Chamber President and CEO Sarah Ray and Chris Pumphrey, Executive Director of the Douglas County Economic Development Authority, to share an exciting announcement.
Thank you, Craig. Once again, it's an honor to be here today. And as you said, just a tremendous shout out to the community for all the support, supporting our healthcare workers here in Douglas. So over the last several years, the Chamber and the Development Authority have enhanced our working relationships with a common goal of ensuring Douglas County has a dynamic and sustainable economy. These started with the creation of the establishment of Douglas Unite, the creation of a community and economic development strategic plan, and the rollout of our community brand Outside the Lines. All of these initiatives were orchestrated by a small group of leaders within Douglas Unite to investigate the formation of a public-private partnership that's keenly focused on achieving our long-term strategic goals and elevating the profile of Douglasville and Douglas County. Leaders from Douglas Unite made presentations to both of our board of directors, and it was unanimously agreed that greater and more formal cooperation is exactly what's needed to ensure we achieve our strategic objectives. To this end, we enlisted the support of consultants to develop a framework that best fits our community and make a recommendation that positions us for success. Success is seen where our economy is diversified, equity and equality are evidenced, and our rankings of income, entrepreneurship, home values, and business participation place us as one of the top 5 Metro Atlanta communities.
To this end, the Douglas County Chamber and Douglas County Economic are joining forces to form a new nonprofit organization, a 501c3 called Elevate Douglas Economic Partnership. This new organization will be publicly and privately funded with a focus on marketing, entrepreneurial growth, policy, target sector recruitment, and supporting existing businesses through international trade, workforce development, and expansion. We're excited about the future of Elevate Douglas and hope you are too. So stay connected with this organization as we progress, and you can follow us on Facebook at Elevate Douglas. We look forward to sharing more information with you in the near future. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah and Chris. Now for a couple just brief announcements. Be sure to tune in on the Chamber's Facebook page for Douglas County Chamber Connect Live on Mondays at 3 p.m. for current event updates from community members. Also, check the Chamber website for upcoming events, including weekly webinars, roundtables, and networking events. That's douglascountygeorgia.com. Thanks again to our community leaders for joining us today, and to GreyStone Power for their naming sponsorship. Thank you all for attending, and have a great rest of your day.